All right, I've got 6 o'clock. So go ahead and call this meeting to order. Give you guys a few minutes. Minutes are in front of you from last month's meeting. Let you review those and I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve, nothing's changed.
The motion with Lonnie, second from Jeff. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so there's our minutes taken care of. First item up, is the burn permit. Buckmaster. We worked on this for a long time. And, we had something fairly close. Then it to emergency services and so then, you become the new fire chief.
They were trying to reword it, add some language or some discussion about regulations and rules.
Yeah.
Meantime, you'll see an email in the packet that I sent to.
Yeah.
Department of Forestry, just questioning.
Uh-huh.
For those of you that don't know, we pay $1,000 a year to the Department of Forestry to manage the website and have access to their crews and dozers and things. That website includes the burn safe TN website, which is what the county uses for oversight of burn permits. In that email, you'll read that if the commission chooses to rescind any and all burn permit regulations in the city limits, the State Department of Forestry will take it over just like they do for the county on their website. Put it in on the website. It's there for your consideration. Amy drew up a ordinance there that would basically rescind any and all. And now, if you do choose to consider it, I would ask you to change the effective date.
Okay.
Change it to October 1st.
Chair over here.
All right. So for all the almost a year worth of meetings that we spent going over the whole thing, all we had to do was just rescind what was on the record and the state would take it over and we wouldn't have to worry about fees or who issues it or who enforces it, or it'd all be taken care of just like it is in the county.
I like what this says.
I'm a little frustrated that we're this far along in this to just now be getting this, but I am 100%. This cleans up everything we discussed. It cleans up everything first responders discussed. Like I said, Amy's already gone through and made us an ordinance there. What's the reasoning for the October?
The burn permit's already in process. It goes October to May.
Okay.
So they don't want to bring it mid-season. They'd rather start fresh October 1st, so that we're fresh on there to October 1st.
Okay.
So there's no burn permits in the middle, in
Right
some,
now.
no, in some.
From May to October, there's not.
In the state or in
Anywhere.
the services.
In the state.
Okay.
Yeah, the burn permit's only required from October 15th to May 15th. Now, you'll notice the other day we were under a burn restriction that was in the county. That part is mandated by forestry. I had to call the sheriff's department and put the restriction on in the urban services because Department of Forestry doesn't take care of it.
Mhm.
So right now, if you live in the city limits, you call dispatch and say, I'm gonna burn some brush.
Yeah.
They write it down. I had to tell them, no, you can't do that. With this, if there's not a burn restriction, the mayor, the MA director, or myself can actually call the Department of Forestry. If we're not comfortable, we put a burn ban in here just by making a phone call.
Okay. And it just shows up on the state's
You
website.
get a permit.
So it's October through May. You have to have, there's
You do.
You have to have a permit.
That is the state law.
June, July, August, season.
That's it.
All right. Any other discussion? I mean, we kind of went through this one over and over and over, chasing our tail, trying to figure out how we were gonna get it done. So.
Just out of curiosity, and I know there's kind of, but do they have to pay the state for it? So that's great.
What we've been doing recently, we've been getting a lot of false calls for control burns, and what I've been doing is personally, people don't have burn permit. I get my phone out and I show them how easy it is to get a permit. And we're hoping that educates the people out in the county. And they're like, oh, that was easy. I didn't know that's what you did.
Yeah.
So they're telling their neighbors. So we're trying to educate them that way as well.
And that is something that we can see about getting posted on the county's website
Yeah.
if this were to go through.
Yeah.
So that everyone, we are metro, so a lot of our laws should apply across everyone, urban or rural.
And that's what this does.
Okay. Well, there's no other discussion. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion's liquid.
All right. That being said, before we vote on it, that motion does include changing the effective date to October 1st.
Correct.
All right, all in favor? Any opposed? Kind of saved a lot of time. All right, next thing, thank you, Mr. Buckman.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, so next thing up is going back over some of the temporary use regulation that we already have. As y'all know, made the amendment when we passed the reconciled zoning to take this straight to the zoning officer. So Rosa Lee's office will handle that now, so you don't go to BZO. We'd all discussed that. We were all in agreement. I didn't see a reason of dragging it out. Just made the amendment. Everyone voted on it. So, what Amy printed out for our packet is the current, language. And so then you've got the list there of all. This is not the completed list, temporary use can be for other things, but this hits the highlights. The one thing I saw was number 9 when I was reading through this, as far as your temporary uses, the temporary manufacturer of road materials. So we actually do allow a process for a temporary quarry for the purpose of making a road. So what Jones Brothers did out here on the Carmen property, quarrying out that whole hill for gravel, they should have had a temporary use permit for that. It is number 9 strictly spells all that out. And that should have come before the Board of Zoning Appeals also. It's a little late now, but I think that's one of the other reasons of bringing this forward and bringing the temporary uses into code and zoning so that it can be enforced the way it's intended to be.
Right now, we have to pay a fee
Rosalie, how does that fall?
For a temporary use permit
Yeah,
for this?
yeah.
Well, as we discussed last meeting, was that, the minimum price for a building permit is $100.
Yeah.
So there isn't for a temporary use permit. Say, for instance, you're going to any type of commercial project, the permit fee is based on the actual cost of the commercial project. And it's put through that Schedule L that's in the IBC. I don't know how you would do this, other than maybe doing it through that.
Well, you'd had a $350 fee going to BZA because it states in here that it had to go before the Board of Zoning Appeals. So, and the Board of Zoning Appeals hadn't made no decision. It was never brought to them.
Well, just because they're in the middle of it doesn't mean we can't say, hey. And there's more. Are you talking about a big pile of rock or they
No, it's a
actually? dug
hillside.
in?
No, it's a hillside.
Well, they actually quarry for
You can
rock.
see it right off of Lock 6. They took a good chunk of Starlight.
Right up next to mine, stop.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that was the one that really caught my eye as I was reading through these. I just wanted to share that with you guys. Also with the temporary use, I know we've been talking about the food trucks for quite some time. I mean, at least a year now. And how we were going to work with, getting the sales tax brought into the county in some of these instances. Is this something y'all want to look at as far as the temporary use? Because the food trucks are technically a temporary use also. And when you read through some of the list here of some of the things, it does fit.
Well, there's people here, I'd like to hear what they have to say.
Let's get to that first. So you got carnivals, festivals, fairs, rodeos, circuses, limited duration goods and merchandise. I mean, to me, that gives you a 30-day temporary use permit. I mean, that to me, number 2 is where food trucks would fall in. Now, we've mentioned multiple times in meetings that no one wanted to discourage the food trucks, and all of us have gotten food from them. It's a good way to try to get, and several of the food trucks that have been here now are brick and mortar places. But we also have complaints from the brick and mortars saying it's unfair advantage and back and forth. The only thing I can find from the brick and mortar side of it is the sales tax. But the way this is written, number 2, food truck use would fall underneath temporary use permit. Now it says it's for a 30-day, the permit's good for 30 days.
So what's the verbiage?
Duration.
What's the verbiage look like in surrounding counties?
Well, that is why I invited Miss Lean here to come and talk with us tonight. She worked on the Lebanon's. Was it Lebanon or Wilson County?
Lebanon's.
Okay.
And this does say duration good, which to me, your food's done in a few minutes. Duration.
So, but yeah, I wanted to give her a chance to speak, and
That's the permit pricing. Sumner Wilson mostly just because it's the most
pass it
common.
on.
This is White House's permit and ordinance, just one for everyone.
Yeah.
We need,
Because everyone's a little bit different in how they structure it.
we need some more of these.
We may have to share.
I did 6, I'm sorry. This is Portland,
Let's see.
Is that the first one?
Yeah, I guess it is.
Hendersonville,
Yeah, this is White House, Portland, Hendersonville, Gallatin.
Gallatin,
Over there.
Mount Juliet,
Well, that I didn't put them up in the window, you see.
Boy,
and the last one.
Supposed to be.
There were 6 copies of everything, I'm sorry if that wasn't enough.
She's print off the email that I sent you.
They're all one of them.
okay.
Here's one more.
Yeah, this is everything that you sent me.
Did that one you're not getting?
I didn't get this one. I didn't get this one. We're looking at it.
So on the back side, it tells you what's consistent between all the food trucks through all the cities and counties. Is that a catering license is necessary if appropriate to that business, but a business license, a Department of Health license, and a state fire inspection if you're not doing the inspection locally with your local fire department. And they always, almost every one of them has a driver's license on record when you do your permit. The ordinances outline the electricity, litter, fire suppression, noise, and signage. They define the locations. You get to say where you want the food trucks. And if it's on private property, written permission from the landowner. Locations defined, sorry, permission letter from property and definition. In many of them, they define the difference between a canteen truck, which is no site prep, a food trailer or food truck, or an ice cream truck, because in many of them, they have different time schedules that they can be open, like a canteen truck can be open at 7, and a food truck or a food trailer could be open at 8:30. A canteen truck closes by 6, a food truck needs to close by 10 o'clock. And then, an ice cream truck can come in a neighborhood, but is done at sundown. So in many of them, the ordinances, they've defined that. But the permitting process is all over the board.
You're talking of like a mobile ice cream truck that drives through the
Yes.
neighborhood to solicit that way,
Yeah.
not,
No.
not a food truck that's gonna park like his ice.
They typically fall under the same ordinance. And they're just defined a little different. And then the pricing's a little different. Some have a single permit, some have 3 different types of permits, meaning 1 day, 3 or 5 days, or annual. Some have an application fee plus the permit fee. So that's why I wanted to, that was the easiest way to call it out, so you could see it.
Thank you.
But the consistencies are the same, that you're making sure that they're permitted, you're making sure that they are health department inspected, you're making sure that they are fire inspected, and that you define where they can and cannot set up. You need permission from the property owner, or if it's on public property. So many of them was, you can't be in a parallel parking spot, you can't be on the road, you have to be in a parking lot in a park, in a public park. Things like that.
Thank you. Any questions for Elaine?
Where do we find the money for each one?
That's on your Central Tennessee Stone District, yeah.
The thing I like about it is that the health department,
Mhm.
that's the one thing I like.
Well, that should be we should be requiring, I mean, the state requires it. We should be making sure it's getting the follow-up. Is all that we needed to do is, I mean, they're issued permits for use by the health department, so all we need to do is just verify they have the permit.
And they would just bring that to us when they get the fee.
Yeah,
These
With the
fees are not
application.
high.
Well, the other thing too is that I like is that like White House, City of Gallatin, Mount Juliet, et cetera, they have an annual permit. And that's a whole lot more palatable than having to make these folks jump through hoops every 60 or 90 days. That's nonsense.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just,
Can I make a comment?
yes, sir. Go ahead.
My biggest question is why? You've got five food trucks in Trowson County. 3 of them are from Trowson County, Hartsville. We pay our sales tax in Trowson County.
Mhm.
The other 2 guys in here tonight, they pay their sales tax in Macon County. I get that. They have a business license. We all pay $210 every 6 months to get a health inspection. If we have to go to a county that does fire inspection, we have to get that done. So it's just and the thing it is, I don't know what the numbers you're looking at. I heard $50, I've heard $100, I've heard a lot of this. You're gonna make $200 off 2 food trucks for this permit. Just this meeting alone tonight is more than that in the fees that we're paying out right here. So I don't know. I understand the argument from businesses, and I'm speaking from a county side and personal. I understand it from the businesses in town. I get that. And it's always gonna be an argument. You go to any city in the state right now, they're having the same conversation. But
I don't think we'd pass something
Judy.
based on someone
Judy.
else being.
Please let him finish. Please let him finish.
But that's the only thing is my question is, why? It's not a moneymaker.
No.
All of us, as far as I know, and I don't think there's one of us in here, I'm just speaking for the group, would have any problem if there's a permit application online. We have to upload our license, our health safety inspection, all that stuff. None of us gonna matter that. It's just, to me, it's just kind of demoralizing and it's my girls more than it's me. That's their business they're starting. And so you're almost like you're slapping them back. And I know it's not a lot of money. You said it. It's not a lot of money. It's just fact of, it's every one of us in here, it's a side gig just about. So it's just, if it was a big need and it was a big thing, it was going to be hundreds of dollars. I can see it, but $50 to $100, we're going to pay it. I'm going to pay that. I'm going to write that check. We're going to move on. But I just don't understand the why, I guess is my question.
can I answer the why, if you don't mind, Chairman? This wouldn't be sitting in here at all had there not been a bunch of complaints come in through the mayor's office regarding this. So when that happens, we have a steering meeting and we take all this new business that comes in and we make the decision what subcommittee it lands on. Again, it wouldn't be here if there hadn't been complaints. That's the only reason we're not out looking for stuff to do. We certainly, I don't want to hurt y'all because we need you. So, like I said, that we wouldn't be wasting anybody's time at all had this not been, a series of complaints. And then obviously they got to act on them.
Sure.
You can't ignore that. So that's the only reason that we had to pick this up. It's not that we wanted to. That's the why, though.
Can I say something?
Obviously, and I want to let everyone know, as from the chairman, of what I bring forward for us to discuss. I would much rather use this time discussing stormwater runoff and how it affects the whole county than having to do this. But when the mayor's office gets the complaints and it gets passed on to the commission, we have to address it. Like I said, that's what I was talking about earlier. This already falls underneath our temporary use. All we have to do is set some guidelines and, like you said, a simple process of just coming in, showing you've got all your stuff, because you're right. Right now, there's only a couple of food trucks here. But in the couple of years past, there was one food truck that showed up that was a utility trailer with a homemade built building on it selling barbecue out the back of it. Now, I don't know if they had a health permit. I don't know what they had. They just showed up and started selling food out the back. I don't even know who they were. That is not fair to all of y'all who've gone through the expense to follow the rules and the laws that are in place for have someone come into town and do something like that. So I want to protect y'all as much as I want to protect brick and mortars. Just keep an even playing field so everyone has a chance to, feed my belly and make a money. I mean, so, yes, sir.
I'm in Macon County and I'm with the Flopping Fish. I come here every single week. I bring revenue into the county because people come from all over the place to eat my food right here in this county.
I drove back from Lebanon today. Just
And-
everybody.
And so, listen, I'm with my man over here. I will pay $100 a year if that's what it is, whatever. But you're going to jump around every county and find out what they're doing. Those big cities, the reason they're regulating it is because of how big their city is and the danger that comes with it. Now, if it needs to be an issue that is looked at later on as the city grows, obviously those things are big. But I can't get permitted in Gallatin. I work everywhere around, but Gallatin won't permit me because they have the stringiest fire codes that there is in the state. One county, I can go everywhere else. But if you say, hey, I got to go to Gallatin and get permitted to come to Hartsville, guess what? I won't be in Hartsville because I don't have to do that in all the other locations.
Yeah.
And listen, I will tell you, I love this county. I love the people here. I give back to the county all the Chamber of Commerce, all of that. I know I don't pay sales tax here. I pay my taxes to the state, which I'm supposed to do. The best way for us to contribute back to the county, other than paying the $100, is bringing people in to the county. And I think where you're going to get in your issues is when you have a festival. And when the food trucks start coming in here for a festival, which this place is pretty good on festivals, those people are going to have to pay a permit. Now, here's what you do. Make them do that 1-year permit. It's okay. Because if they're going to do multiple things here, they should have to pay the permit. But where I'm coming from is I'm a small businessman. Okay, I got one food truck. This is a family-run business. I don't employ 15 to 20 people. I employ 4 people. I just want to serve food. I want to make people happy. And if I've got to worry about Jane down the street complaining because I'm set up in a parking lot right down the road from her, and that's one of the complaints, and I'm just going to say it. If she wants to be here and complain, she should come here and complain because I know she's the one. And she's probably the biggest troublemaker in the whole county when it comes to businesses. She complains because she steps out of her door and looks at the parking lot that I'm parked in, and I've got 30 cars in the parking lot, and she's got nobody in the parking lot. That's why they're complaining. It's not because we're not paying sales tax. It's because their business is not drawing business, and they're blaming it on the food trucks. I'm not competition to her. People eat my fish, they ain't going to get coffee. It's just, there's no competition. And guys, I wanted to show up tonight because one, I love this area. I want to keep serving here. But if y'all throw some kind of crazy regulations on us, I can't, because I just can't afford to put a $5,000 system in to serve fish, and I appreciate y'all letting me speak. I will be quiet, but I do want you to know I travel to all the areas, every one of them. Gallatin made an exception for me to come there with the fire permit to do one of their events because they understood that I'm not going to go spend that kind of money to set up there one time. So I just appreciate this area. I appreciate the people here, man. These guys, every one of these guys I've talked to, I communicate with. The food truck community is a pretty awesome community. And when we get to serve people, I think it's very misunderstood. People think food trucks is a huge moneymaker. We work hard for our money, and it's not a huge moneymaker. So just trust me when I say we are scraping, because we may show up one day and have a $2,000 day, but we may have a rain out and we lose all the food that's on the trailer because we can't sell food in the middle of a rain out. So just kind of understand where we're coming from, and I know you are, because I appreciate your comment. But I also want to put on the record, if there is any records.
There is.
We all know.
This meeting is videotaped.
Oh, perfect. I hope she sees it. There is somebody that continues to complain about all of us the reason we're really sitting here having this conversation. And like I said, I appreciate being here. I just think that take into consideration everything there is about the food truck world. We can bring in revenue. Our revenue looks a little different because it's people coming and eating a burger from 2 counties away, and while they're here, they're stopping at the shops downtown because they don't want to just do a trip to eat. Even though they came to eat, they're going to go other places. So just kind of understand where we're coming from there, and I appreciate you letting me talk. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Would like to ask you a question. You're saying that there's the fire regulations there. Is Gallatin going above and beyond state regulations then?
They're making Nashville has the strongest fire code regulations in the state, and I think she will agree to me on this. Gallatin is the exact same as Nashville.
Okay.
And that's why they adopted I think there's like a 2024, is it the 2024 regulation update or something?
Yes.
Most of them are not that, because it is so strict. Because I can do all of my cooking outside on the deck. Well, Gallatin and Nashville makes me put an ambulance system, even though I'm in open air.
Yeah.
I don't have to do that anywhere else. So that's why it's a little bit of difference. So Gallatin is the strictest in the state. And I've had multiple conversations with them, even in the last few weeks. And that's why, I can pull my fryers off and cook, but I can't cook on the back of my trailer in Gallatin. I have to pull the fryers off. That's a lot of work, guys. A lot of work.
So, can I say?
Yes.
So, in there is White House and Portland and City of Lebanon's original one from 2013 or 2015, plus their updated one. I can speak to City of Lebanon, why we did it 13 years ago. We had good food trucks. We had good patronage. We had food trucks that were participating. Wasn't in sales tax. It was, we ended up having a food truck come in that wasn't licensed. That wasn't health inspected. That wasn't fire permitted. And it became a big problem because someone got sick. So this was to move into that, to just have regulation around it. When it was originally written, the permits were low. It was a 1 day, a 3 day, and an annual. The 3 day was for a multi-day event. The 1 day is if you're just coming in for 1 day, or you buy the annual for $100 is what it was. It's not that now. It has evolved and changed a lot. But the other thing was they were parking. The issue was food trucks were starting to park on the square before it had its reconfiguration, and it was taking up 2 parking spots or 3 parking spots when you didn't have them. So that's where so many have adopted where food trucks can be. Just permission from a parking lot, which you have, or if it's public, where it can be public. So you see food trucks now at Don Fox Park almost every day because that's where they drove them to be there. So it's about making sure that the food trucks that are here, we're fortunate that the food trucks we have now are regulated. They are permitted. They are health inspected. They do have their fire codes, but it may not always be that way. So this was, in my opinion, getting it getting your arms wrapped around that to make sure you can move forward. Now, from an economic development perspective, I want more food trucks here, because the more food trucks we have, the more restaurants we can get. The more food trucks can convert into restaurants. I've already had 2 people come to me talking about a food truck park.
And we've discussed that here, the lot there beside the fire department. And we talked with the mayor about that, but sorry.
Yeah.
We have other needs for that property. And so that's something else that'll have to be, but we do own an acre of lot right there across from the jail. If we're gonna put the new jail over here by the fire hall, that does give an acre lot where food truck could be set up to be a smaller kind of like what's off of 109
Trailer
over.
park.
Yeah, the trailer park there to give you a place. But most of all of y'all have a better location on 25 on private property that you already have arrangements for. And honestly, I don't think anyone here in any of the discussions ever got to a point where we were trying to keep food trucks out.
Absolutely.
I mean, I know myself, I frequent most of them quite often. And if I don't, my wife and daughter do. The county has traditionally been reactive in everything we do. That we don't do anything until there's a problem. We tried to start becoming more proactive to at least get things in place, like with the blasting permit, like with the adult entertainment that we took care of. So that we have zoning regulations, so that we have things in place, so that if something does come, we have something. The whole quarry situation really shined a spotlight on some of the holes that we had. We had some regulations for quarries, but some of it had been deleted out and not all of it. And it was kind of a mess when a quarry actually came in and wanted to do something. So when we did the unification of our codes and zoning, it showed where those holes are. So I'm slowly picking up those holes as we're getting complaints and requests from outside bodies from the community. Like I said, I think this falls, and that's why I wanted to bring it up tonight. It falls in the temporary use. I think we can look at what we have in front of us. The only concern I have is the gentleman's statement on Gallatin using the 2024 building codes, which fire
But you
codes.
can't expect these folks with
So-
a food truck to have the same fire suppression that you have in a brick and mortar.
Well, the
That's
reason,
absolutely ludicrous.
but the reason I bring it up is we're looking at adopting the new building codes. It's that time of year again.
I know.
So is that going to be, are we gonna need to separate the fire codes out from the building codes, or is that?
Absolutely not. What you
Okay.
do is that when you do adopt new building codes, is that you can do exemptions, just like for the energy code. We go by 2009 energy code because we don't want to have 2x12 walls with,
Yeah.
massive insulation. And so you can make an amendment when we do the adoption,
Mhm.
when we do the 2024 fire code, you do say what section that you're not going to adopt, which may address the fire suppression systems that they're saying.
Okay.
Now, I did bring the NFPA, which kind of talks about fire safety for the food trucks. So, that's something that we can kind of massage and see what will work and make it, palatable for everybody.
And I would encourage all of you to come, give feedback as we're having these discussions. Y'all are doing it every day. Some of these federal regulations don't necessarily apply here. At the same time, understand, we're not trying to regulate you. We're actually trying to regulate the ones who aren't doing what y'all are doing. And we're trying to keep everyone to the same standards. Go ahead.
So I heard Mike's concern. I heard this gentleman's concern. If we were to just adopt a simple annual fee,
Mhm.
nothing to add, no, that way we can show this, so the optics are there that we did address these complaints.
Yeah.
And so we put something in place, something that is very friendly for everybody. Rosalie, I'll ask you, is there the ability with your software, for the permitting software you have, for them to have a portal to be able to upload the stuff to?
Absolutely.
So that's a wonderful thing you brought forward. We'll put that together. So when we get this done, you guys can just upload your files and a simple annual fee. This has been dealt with, okay? Now, find something else to complain about. So,
Can I say something?
absolutely.
I know most of you know me, so I'm very blunt. So what I'm hearing is that some brick and mortar individuals are complaining.
That's how it got here.
Okay. What happens when they don't stop complaining? Are we gonna keep taking it further and further and
I
further?
mean, once it's addressed here, as long as I'm chairman,
It's
it
over.
ain't coming back up.
Okay.
We have addressed it. We've got something in place.
Correct.
We move on.
So let's touch base on the fire suppression. I'm not for sure how many of you are familiar with that system. For my business personally, I can afford it. I can afford it, but I want y'all to understand that fire suppression is extremely expensive. And we have some business, we have the flopping fish, we have making grub. We actually all have we're happy for each other. We cannot get so soft in this county that we have to cater to the complainers. If they're not successful, that is not our fault and we should not take repercussions from that.
That's their
First
fault and that's their issue. I'm not here for that. The complaint was sales tax. They were paying sales tax. The food trucks coming in, we had no way to regulate who was paying and wasn't paying sales tax if people were coming from outside of county. It was a loss of revenue. We were looking at regulating. And then how do we permit that to make sure everyone is on the same level? That is all we're covering here. I don't care about the complaints of brick and mortar to food trucks and the back and forth fight that y'all have to deal with. That does not concern this committee. I am solely looking at doing the permitting situation so that everyone's on the same level as far as food trucks go. You're not going to be on the same level as a brick and mortar. They're a brick and mortar. They have
So
building
we have-
codes to abide by. That's different.
So going back to the fire suppression, that is for not so much for me because I can get it installed. The problem that's disheartening for me is that if we do apples to these bigger cities, some of our businesses, some of our food trucks cannot afford to install that. I know that y'all are probably going to look at that. That is what Lebanon requires. Gallatin is just like Poppin' Fish. They are very, very strict. Nashville is. Carthage, Lafayette, they're doing it freely. They let the food trucks. I understand the concerns. I understand the permit. Lonnie, just like you said, we'll pay it. We don't care.
We don't want to bruise anybody.
Absolutely. And I understand that. But I don't want this county to continue to go as far as trying to replicate what these big cities are doing, because what it does for me personally is that it gives me an opportunity to go there and make double of what I'm making in Hartsville. But I don't want to. This is my community. This is Potts community. We are born and raised here and we want to service our community. Regardless, I understand the sales tax. I understand that. We pay it. But with the permits, we'll pay it. But when you start trying to replicate these bigger cities, that's when we're going to get into some issues with our small businesses. And it's already hard enough to operate a small business.
Go ahead.
We're not trying to replicate them. We have no knowledge, so we had to look and see what they're doing. My only concern then that I've said all along, we don't want to make money off of you as far as the application fee goes. I like the health certificate thing. And I don't know if your thing caught on fire, it's your thing, but yeah, it's mine.
If it burns down,
That's not my concern. The only thing, the driver's license, the Department of Health, but the others may disagree with me. And that fire thing may be very important and I don't get it. But
it's different for a brick and mortar.
Yeah, anytime you walk up to any of the food truck, they should be placed. Your health inspection should be placed. So, you could come up and ask.
But that's just providing it to the county.
I understand, but I'm just saying, in general, if you want to say it, it should be, saying.
It needs to be provided to the county.
Exactly. So that's what's part of it. Like I say, we'll
That's what
put
we're
together a
doing
little
here.
portal so they can upload their permits, their inspections and all that stuff, and then it's over and done. The thing is, she did outline the fact that we'll be able to pull portions of that code out. And, we do not necessarily have to adopt the Davidson County, Gallatin fire suppression for food trucks because, I mean, it's just one of the things, we can strike certain portions of that as we adopt it. And I would believe that would be the plan, is to not do that, to not to force anybody's hand into kinds of situations. Because again, we're not here to try to bruise anybody. We want to see you guys succeed.
We want more.
We just want to, yeah, we want to be able to have, okay, we're compliant. We did what we're supposed to do next. You know, let you guys, you know, live long and prosper.
Where does that money go that we're paying in permits? Where will that be going?
So with the software that we have, every time we add another permit use to that software, we have to pay a fee for that to be added to the
Isn't
software.
that cool?
So it just goes
So
to offset.
what's the fee at hand?
No, actually, part of that will go to help fund the software. I mean, there's just, that's always gonna happen because the software is there. It's real easy for us to add another additional permit to that. What also happens is that that money goes into the 101 general fund whenever we do building permits on that type of thing. So that is going to be going to the general fund. It's going to be going to the county. It also helps pay, verifying the time that it takes, looking at all the certifications that you would be uploading and matching it to the person that's coming in and verifying this is the permit holder. And we'll have a whole list of everything.
So here's what I want to put forward. Looking at what we have here and all the different counties and all the different municipalities on their annual deals. The minimum permit fee, if you get a permit from codes and zoning, is by county law is $100. That's the minimum. So you can stay at $100. Everyone else is $130 to $300 for a yearly. You get up that much, I think you're kind of going over the numbers we were looking at for as far as sales tax recoup.
Okay.
And hold on just a second. So the whole reason we were looking at the permitting was to kind of offset what someone coming in 4 or 5 days a month would be, what we would lose coming from out of county. My thought going forward is that we look at, you know, that 100 is as low as we can go. That might be as high as we want to go. 130 to 200 was where we were looking as far as a sales tax in previous meetings that we had discussed as doing a permit fee to offset what, you know, the sales tax the vendor wasn't bringing in. I think that this could go as an amendment to the temporary use under number 2 with a breakout of, now here's the requirements to receive your permit underneath that temporary use. What do y'all think about that?
Absolutely, especially if we can, you know, provide them with a portal to be able to upload the forms and then make it simple. Because the thing is, to make it easy for everybody, we don't want to, they don't got time to drive down here, permit, you know, present all their paperwork and stuff every day.
And that's the reason why we had Rosalie get the software, is for even for building permits, it can all be submitted online. You don't have to come to the office. It also makes her job easier because it's already in the system. She doesn't have to upload that information. So that I'm great with. That's why we did this program. Were you wanting to?
Yeah, the one thing I will say is just doing an annual permit
Mhm.
when we have our festivals on the square, if we are able to bring in a food truck that we don't normally have here, let's just say it's a donut truck.
Mhm.
They're not going to want to pay $100 to come here for one day and only be
Okay.
here once. And we lose that specialness. So I would ask you to consider
Mhm.
if there's I know that you said $100 is the minimum permitting fee, to consider how you would do a 1 day or a 3 day or a 5 day.
3 to 5.
Lebanon's got a 1 day at 25 as you have here and a 3 day for 50.
Why do we have a minimum of
The planning commission set that up years ago.
years? We might change that.
So
Not
I
really.
would also
Rather
like
not.
to say too, so if
We
somebody
don't want to hurt
has,
these people.
No, make it lower than the county commission set up $100
Does
minimum.
anything go lower in this county?
Make it lower.
Nothing gets cheaper. Not for y'all, not for us.
Can there be an exception to that?
so
Well, that's what I'd like to hear Rosalie's comment on.
So if you do have somebody come in and they say they want to get a 1 day permit or a 3 day permit, what happens if they never come back and they keep coming back into the county and they never come and get another permit?
Who's gonna police this?
That's the
another
question.
question.
Because
That's what she's getting at, yeah.
Zoning does it in Gallatin.
They say
and-
codes
yeah,
department.
codes
That,
department.
so that's where the funding for that would goes, but should, in theory, go back into codes and codes manages.
You got plenty of time.
In theory. In theory.
In theory,
And at one point during discussions, we had talked about having just a Trousdale County sticker, kind of like a wheel tax sticker you would have. And so you have your permit to operate a food truck in Trousdale County, you have your sticker. I mean, any officer stopping for lunch could see whether you had your sticker or not and then report it.
if you're doing an annual, that would work.
Yeah. So if you're doing an annual, I think that's great. If you're doing day or day, you put that sticker on for a 3 day deal, we better have stickers that say 3 day permit on it.
It's a piece of paper printed up, it's stuck on the window for that
So
day.
They're not trying to use the same sticker to get through all year.
So I think. if I
You
may-
don't want a
Yes.
sticker?
So
I said I won't stay, but I guess.
the number two, the limited duration goods, right now, it reads as a 30 day temporary use permit. So I think you're right. I think we need to look at, okay, what do we want to establish? And because limited use, the duration goods and merchandise is not just food trucks. So I
Yeah.
think we need to kind of break that out and define that clearly.
Yeah.
On what that's gonna be. And so hearing from everybody here, it sounds like, and I've seen you guys here multiple times, you all are wonderful. You know, having an annual, having a 3 to 5 day, because there are gonna be events, and I hope you guys are all there. And have wonderful food. That would be the way to go. And whenever we take ordinances to the county commission sets the fee. So does it always have to be $100 fee? I think for an annual, $100 is appropriate, but I think for the 3 to 5 day, that is something that we need to look at and present that to the county commission for them to vote on. I mean, we can't do anything here in this committee, but
And as we just brought up with the whole sticker discussion just a second ago, I think if we were to be able to push vendors towards an annual, and here's a sticker, it's easier to enforce. You paid an annual fee, you're good for the year, versus trying to track down the 3 day permit. And are you past your time? Or are you not? Go ahead.
How much we gonna pay for the stickers? They done that a long time ago. We had a sticker for your tags and you had a sticker for the wheel tags or good for it. So they found out we were paying so much money to buy the sticker, but we quit doing the sticker for the wheel tags. Save money.
that might be part of the $100 annual fee goes to the
That's what-
stickers.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we did with the sign. So, since this committee, has been formed, for this election cycle, the county signs that are out, rezoning signs and site plan signs that you see for some of these places, we charged enough that if you lose that sign, what you pay replaces the sign. That's all that's
And
done.
the gentleman at your 5 o'clock there has.
Yeah, sir.
I'm just saying on the 3 and 5 days,
Yeah.
make sure that it's understood it's 3 or 5 consecutive days.
yeah.
It's not like one here,
Yeah.
3 months from now, one, and I get 3 days. It's 3 consecutive days. It's just for an event or something, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what it should be for.
Yeah.
Not that you get to pick and choose
Yeah.
which days.
That's what I'm saying. Just be clear about it.
Like I said, the temporary 3 to 5 day things can be a bright piece of paper
Mhm.
that is printed
Dates
with the dates on it. I mean,
Yeah.
and
I mean,
laminated,
huh?
and laminated. We're always good at.
Yeah, they're laminated. They laminate everything.
Done if it wasn't laminated, they shouldn't have to come in.
I'm right, but I'm just saying
Are
that
they gonna pay for their permit?
that's the thing is that they get the limited
Hey,
3 day thing. It's bright colors.
We're not set up for that yet.
It's in the window. Even Ray Charles could see it.
All right, so is there anything that anyone wants to throw out or do you want to continue discussion on next month's meeting?
I mean, we'll have to get something together that we can take to the commission.
So can we discuss an outline of what we're looking at? Because we've had a lot of general discussion. So that Rosalie can kind of look at something and put forth. I mean, Helene's given us a ton of information. And thank you so much for that.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Just one question.
Yep.
I've been to just a couple of guys down there, what, those farmers and all that come in here. If y'all have those events, y'all gonna require those farmers and all that does soap or something to come in here and have an event? I mean, if it does, it's gonna keep you events.
That's what I was just gonna ask.
And that's something that we're having to look
I
at.
mean,
It's
that's
on the-
You're saying
money for your time.
small business selling a candle or a
Yeah.
bar of soap, are they all gonna have to pay?
We'll see.
Are we gonna do an event fee
Or just something for
and
y'all. to
whoever
talk about.
plans it pays that fee and that covers?
So in the past, we've been dealing with this very thing, those events. They've turned into being a bit of a Wild West. And that's had to be reined in because there's been some stuff that's been out of control with it. So
So
it's had to be reined in. I mean, it was,
in our
yes,
temporary use, seasonal sales of farm produce, number 7, it's already listed out there. That is for, was that a 6-month? Let's see if I can remember. Yeah. So it's a 6-month period. It's already set up. You just come in, you pay your $100, you're good for 6 months.
Here's my.
That takes care of that's already that county law. That's nothing we've done. that is our books.
yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
it's been on the books.
Here's my question, because a lot of these vendors are making little to nothing at these
Yeah.
events. We beg these vendors to come in. My wife
Mhm.
owns Millie Mays. You know, she's trying to put on events to help the community.
Yeah.
We beg vendors to come into this county because they can go to Lebanon, they go to Gallatin, and make 10 times what they're gonna make here.
Yeah.
Same with food trucks. If we start charging every one of them $100, that might be all they make.
Yeah.
And the money that Jamie brings in for the vendors fees, this next one that's coming up.
Yeah.
It's all going to the chamber.
Yeah.
Mike puts on Downtown Sound. We try to get vendors to come in. That's all for nonprofit.
Mhm.
So the minute we start doing that, all these little mom and pop shops
And this is why we're having this
are gonna
discussion.
be gone.
So when we consolidated the urban and the rural and made it into one document, I made a promise to the commission that this body was not going to create any new law. We were only going to just combine the 2 documents so that we had a clear representation of what our zoning laws were. Now's the problem of, okay, now we see what we have. It ain't pretty. It was the old city and the old county. They went and actually wrote in the charter. Now these 2 are now the zoning for urban and rural, and that's it. In 20 years, nothing changed.
Sadly,
And
Both
and
sides of
now we're
that.
having to fix it.
there was contradictory
Yeah.
verbiage from one side to the other that a good lawyer could bury you with. And that's why we had to go and spend, how many years have we been on that now?
We spent a full almost 2 years on that.
Right, just to get it so that the urban services and county actually lines up. Because it was crazy. One side of the fence and the other side of the fence was just contradicting each other drastically.
So what we're trying to do, and it's a joint conversation here. Food trucks to me is a temporary use. We're starting with temporary use and we're working through, this got moved out of public works and into codes and zoning. So now we're trying to look at it and clean it up because it was $350 in the city. If you wanted a permit for temporary use, you had to go to BZA. We already fixed that. I fixed that on an amendment when the last vote. So now it's down to 100. Now we've got some room to look at this. And to me, this section needs to be fixed. Some of it's not being enforced and some of it, by the way it's written, is over enforced. So that's the discussion we need to have. And I appreciate the passion of the back and forth about brick and mortars, and that's not what we're trying to do here. And that is what we're trying, I need to get us focusing on is we have number 2. We look at that. Food trucks can fit into that. How do we address that? And then we're just gonna have to go down through these because as we're looking at them, they're pretty messed up. I mean, and I can understand the concept of a 6-month permit is $100.
Can you give me a definition of limited duration goods and merchandise? What is that?
Yeah, I don't think.
I don't know any more than you
Hey,
do.
you can't classify food trucks in the same thing as somebody selling teddy bears.
100%.
Yeah.
Teddy bear doesn't have to have an inspection. There's a lot of stuff they don't have to.
Well, I mean, somebody just wants to come sell junk
So then what we
and they get a
do,
permit.
what we do
You
then
don't want that.
is we either put it as a subcategory underneath temporary use, or we start a new category just for food trucks.
Can I mention something about?
Yeah.
In several different communities, they have an exemption for vendors set up at fairs and festivals. What you have in number 7 is really geared, if I understand it correctly, it should be geared towards the vendor that comes and sets up at the farmer's market 5 days a week, 7 days a week.
Yep.
And that's why they're being permitted. What you all are doing, or what Mike's doing, we have a temporary festival that's 2 days, 1 day, 3 days. And they're covered. They don't, there's exemptions that they're not covered in that kind of number 7. It's separate.
It's number 1 is what it is.
The carnival festivals, fairs, and
Mhm.
so
Yes.
Helene, correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm misremembering, but Lebanon actually has an exemption for any vendor attending a Lebanon sponsored
Yes.
event.
So that's why,
So
that's
a
an
city sponsored event then?
Well, that's why.
chamber, so like, for example, that came out of, it's, Jamming with the General, the music's been on the square, it all came out of that, because it came from a store on the square that had music once a quarter, then the chamber took it, and then the city became a sponsor, so that's where all this kind of worked together. So it's a city sanctioned, then it's city sponsored.
We're in that event this year to do. We would have to pay $100 for Lebanon, and that's not just Wilson County. We'd have to pay $100 for Lebanon and then $50 for a fire inspection, but because it's a city event, it's exempt. We don't have to pay.
And that's something that I was wanting to propose. But what I need from this body right now, we've had enough general discussion. How do we want to fix this? Do we want this to be a separate food truck vendor category, or do we just want to do a subsection under 2?
I think it should be separate because one size shoes don't fit all.
And I also, food truck, and I'm gonna speak again for all of us. I think we're all fine with uploading our stuff and paying a small fee. I don't think that's any issue at all. The street vendor, the little guy selling cups and the guy selling
Hats and.
the random stuff in
Leave
dudes.
them alone.
Yeah, they don't
Leave them
need.
alone.
I mean, it's hard enough for them kids to make it, period. And
But
that's
every
against
fucking-
people. But now we understand it. We're gonna set up multiple times a year. We're gonna, it's gonna work out for us. But these street vendors that you see at Downtown Sound, and you see at the, Middle Mays puts theirs on, them guys and girls are scratching and make $10 that night. And so my personal, that's if I was doing this, I would definitely say eliminate them, let them have their thing.
Under the exemption.
Yes, they fall under it, and yeah, because like,
kind of wording for exemption in food trucks wise, hey, I don't think we mind one bit doing our part and then, and like I say, uploading our stuff. We have to get it from the state anyway.
Yeah.
That information's coming to us. They email it now. We don't even get a paper copy until we print it. So we can just automatically send that on.
So, and that's my thing. We don't have those exemptions in what we have right now.
we have to create that verbiage.
Yeah, so that's like I said, we kind of got caught up in the first of the discussion, just kind of that back and forth. What I need to do is, we know there's a problem. When we passed this bill, when you passed this combined ordinance, we knew these problems existed. They were brought up during the going through it. But at that time, we couldn't fix it then. We had to get it passed as is. Now we're trying to fix it. So that's where so right now, is there a motion to separate this out as a food truck?
I make that motion.
Okay. And a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So we need to do a separate, just food truck permitting process and requirements.
But we don't need
And
to
that'll
do
be-
that tonight.
No.
Come up with that.
No, we just had to go to that decision so we can bring it up next month.
I needed to get direction so I know how to bring it forth for the next meeting. We still need to start going through these temporary use regulations. And it looks like at this point, we need to just take them one by one, just for time purposes. Because no one wants to sit here for 6 hours taking each one of these individual, in one meeting.
Before she leaves, I would
Yeah.
like, will you go over those extensions again? Cause I think we need quite a few.
Typically, if it's a city sanctioned or a county sanctioned event, depending if it's a city or a county.
Or independent body,
I'm sorry.
or independent body, like the chambers.
Yeah,
basically
so,
independent
and
body.
and what I've experienced before is that the chamber, when it's a chamber event, it's a city event. So however that's written, but if it's that kind of festival, the food truck, especially in Lebanon, is one of the changes we had to make. Food truck's not paying a fee, not paying the fire fee because it's a city sanctioned event. And that city sanctioned event is typically through the chamber because the city's not putting it on.
And can we as a body come up with more exemptions?
Yes.
Such as the person selling produce on the
So-
side of the road.
So for those who haven't attended these meetings regularly, anytime I've brought a new topic up, I always bring reference materials from others because there's no sense in us creating whole cloth and running into legal issues. Everyone else's has already been legally tested. So we can bring it in and then piecemeal. Okay, well, we like this, but that's too much. We like this, but no, that's not going to work in Trousdale. And that's how we do these ordinances through this department. I think that's the best way of looking at it because none of us are attorneys. And we're just trying to do what's best for both the citizens and the county. And there is always a happy medium. I think we've covered a lot of information tonight. And I think we've got at least a framework of where to start on the food truck side of it. Rosalie, if we could, as you do the minutes for this meeting, can you take those bullet points and just kind of give me a framework for the next meeting?
Sure.
Yeah, and we've got, like I said, the Lebanon, I know that one because I read through the Lebanon's. They have exemptions for specific types of events. And I think doing it by types of events instead of specific events will make it better.
Shouldn't there be exemptions for the type of vendor too?
That's what I agree with.
I think you're gonna
You got a guy selling,
You gotta worry about
inflatables and stuff at a
discrimination.
Christmas parade out of the back of a grocery cart.
I got Brandon Beller yelling in the back of my head. If we start doing carve-outs, we got discrimination issues that we have to worry about.
Well, I guess when you take a look at that, things like parades and things where these people show up, those are city events.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
That would fall in as an exemption and they wouldn't be paying the fee.
I was gonna say, I think more of this is gonna get covered than you think.
So, and I think with the exemptions, I think, like if we're doing events and some of these events have exemptions, I think they still should file the information and they'll just be exempt from the payment. We just have the information so we can the discussion that we had last month with events, knowing what roads are gonna be closed. That way, other things that are gonna be impacted. That way we can let the emergency services know in case there is an emergency that roads are closed, the fire department, things of that nature. Because basically what this kind of does is just a conduit of information to everybody that needs to know things. So if there's gonna be an exemption, we still need to have the paperwork and the information. That way we can let everybody know what's going on.
But these people are probably 18, 19, 20 years old.
And to me, that doesn't matter. I mean, it's still.
Are you all food truck people? Y'all can't
We
say
own
anything.
GNC Lemonade. We're a food truck, yes. We serve drinks and like fruit drinks. We don't cook in our.
You didn't have anything you wanted to say?
No, I mean, they cover it on that side.
And I really do appreciate you guys coming. And I wish more people would come when we have these discussions because it gives us perspective that we don't get any other way. And if we're going to do regulations for a particular subject, the people are getting regulated really need to come up and say, hey.
Have you thought of this?
Yeah.
The objective here is to protect you.
Yes, very much.
One of the things you guys really need to think about too, and I think this would be something the city needs to think about on a city sponsored event or a chamber sponsored event. If it's a food truck, you really need to make sure that they list the city as they covered by their insurance. this is a big deal, and a lot of people don't even think about it. But like everywhere that I set up any of these guys, we have to carry $1 million worth of insurance at any setup and we have to list who would be covered.
Yeah.
Because if it's a city event and they sue me,
Mhm.
they can come after the city if there's not listed. So I think I would make that as a rule on those, if you're doing other events
Yeah.
to cover the city. I think any of us, all we gotta do is call and say, hey, put it on there. And as far as the fire suppression system, if you're not going to require a fire suppression, and listen, most people have a fire suppression that cooks on there because they're doing it on the inside of their trailer. So
Mhm.
if they're going to have one, they need it.
For their own insurance.
Yeah. Oh, their insurance ain't going to cover them if they don't.
Yeah.
But the two things that food trucks definitely need to have, well, for one that cooks on the outside or the end, they need to have 2-foot fire extinguishers. That's the most important thing. There's no way for us to upload those extinguishers and say, hey, we got these extinguishers. But if you're going to have the fire chief or something around here and you're going to require a fire inspection, just have them check and see if they've got those 2 extinguishers. Now, they don't have to have 2 of the different
Cook on
kinds
theirs, yeah.
because they don't cook. They have to have a red one, I think, the red, whatever that is. But we have to carry one special to grease, whether we cook it on the inside or the outside.
Mhm.
So if you're adopting a rule and you want to cover the fire and you get them to go to the chief for a fire inspection, that should be a quick thing. Look and see if they've got the extinguishers, mark it off. The city's good. And if you're doing a city sponsored event, guys, I'm telling you, it is so important because food trucks are very popular right now. A lot of people don't understand a thing about them.
Yeah.
That's doing it.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
there's a
you're
lot
saying
of rookies that
You're
show.
saying COI with listing the city is,
Yes.
It's also, is that's $1 million and you need
That's
to
what
Hartsville Trousdale.
Jamie.
That's what I was gonna say, we're Metro, so it.
Yeah, so we just say
it could be
Hartsville
county,
Trousdale.
yes.
Yeah. They would just list it. It ain't hard. All we gotta do is call our insurance and say it. There you go.
But like I said, you can go back and listen, and watch the videos of these meetings as we've discussed this over the last year. That's been our big deal, is because like I said, that one utility trailer setup, I saw that and I was like, we can't have this ruining the reputation of every other business that's doing a good job and providing a good service. I mean, we had the the Eero place was down there for a couple of years down there. We never gave them any grief. They paid their property taxes. They were, I don't have a problem with that. And no one here has ever mentioned a problem with that. So, but I do have a problem, like you said, with these people just pulling a trailer up and just throwing some, household appliances in there and going at it. And
Hey, listen, people that don't throw household appliances can spend $40,000 on a trailer, still not know how to act in a trailer. I'm just telling you, that's why I'm like, cover the city and the county at the same time. All of us, we will do it if you say, hey, will you put us as an inclusion?
And I can tell you, our county attorney has been on all of us to limit the liability on the county for a lot of activities.
That would be a way, and it's not hard, and it doesn't cost us anything to add somebody, because any place I set up, I have to list them as a covered insured. I can do hundreds of those people on a setup.
Thank you.
Call out, and that is part of our permitting process for like any type of building or anything else like that. I require, if it's a contractor, I need a certificate. Yeah.
Same
That's
thing
the
with like
lot.
Jamie's events down there.
Mhm.
She always lists the city, we carry, obviously, building insurance on our building, but she always pulls a separate insurance policy just for her events and lists the city. Because we are setting up on city streets,
Mhm.
sometimes in the courthouse, lawn. So that's, we always.
And there have been events in the past where entities set up and didn't have any insurance and just assumed the city was going to cover it for them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been an issue, and we've had to address that.
Just require insurance, that's all I say. Require
It
insurance
just-
and y'all leave listed.
Yeah.
I think that's important.
Event insurance is not that expensive.
But this is one of the reasons we've pulled this into the codes office from Public Works, because Public Works had no idea how to inspect those things. They were just issuing permits. And so now that we have this over here, now we can address it, we can fix it. With the feedback y'all have given us, I think we've got a good framework to start on something and at least get something in, down in writing to look at for next meeting. Next meeting, I would like us to go ahead and I'm gonna see if I can't track down, we'll talk with Rick and try to get a definition for, honestly, for what number 2 really means. That limited duration goods, I mean, short term, selling of goods is what, it's the way I took it, but I don't know if that's exactly the way it's intended.
But,
Yeah.
So with that part of it,
Mhm.
and like these really small vendors that are selling cups and hats and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I would push Rosalie to maybe do an event permit.
Mhm.
And maybe it's a little bit more, but that would cover all those small vendors that
Exactly.
can't
That was my thought.
afford, cause they're paying a spot for a booth and then, you start adding all that stuff up, but if the event pays for that permit and it covers the
And
20.
it covers all the
blanket.
vendors there.
For so many, up to so many vendors, whatever,
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah,
great
it's like
idea.
50 vendors is,
'Cause if you got-
$50, I don't know.
Well, if you've got 50 vendors and you're doing an event deal and the minimum is $100, all of a sudden that $100 is spread across 50 vendors and it's not
It's
that
not so
big a
bad.
deal anymore.
Not so bad.
So I think being able to do an event deal permit fits, and it does still fit their temporary regulations.
And there is criteria
Because they get their own.
Yeah.
3 to 5.
Yeah,
And it does separate them out.
and that's been, as I referred to it, as the Wild West.
Yeah.
Our events, there is the form you gotta fill out, the minimum requirements, insurance, waivers for petting zoos, all that sort of stuff. And they weren't complying. And so that's what's happened in the past. People haven't complied. We've had the issue of the bouncy houses and all that stuff. It's not our decision to get rid of that.
Now that you brought that up, before
Same.
we dismiss, Rosalie has passed out Tennessee regulations on bouncy house inflatables. Like everyone to take a look at that and kind of read over that. On next month's, I want to bring this up to see, I mean, the way the county is set up, it's our insurance company. It's not any county law ordinance or whatnot. It's the insurance that we use says, if you do this, we will not cover you. So the community can be upset because, they're not being allowed to have a bounce house on county property. I don't know what to tell you. You have to get your own insurance because
Can I
we
ask
can't.
a quick question?
Yeah.
So if somebody is using a bounce house and they have specific bounce house insurance and can provide that,
They'd have to
They're good.
list the
We are actually looking into that, whether our insurance will exclude and cover everything else
Okay.
and let their insurance cover that. The mayor's office is looking into that now because that did get brought up.
yeah, because we got an event coming up and, my wife bought one.
Yeah.
We've put it out multiple times, never charged for it. The whole point was give kids something to do while mom and dad are shopping.
If it's on private property, it's okay. You have your insurance and you take care of it. It's if you set it up at the park on public property that the county's insurance can't do it. And honestly, it's not been enforced and we've really gotten away with it because the car show and the county fair, that high school is county property.
Yep.
They are not supposed to be having that.
So
we've got to figure that out because it's been brought to our attention now. It's on record. So if anyone gets hurt and they come after the county, our insurance is going to say, we don't cover that. And it's the county. It's all the county taxpayers. And that's what people need to really understand. When I say county, I mean all of
That
us.
was my question though. If there's specific insurance, if whoever's putting that event on has specific insurance, it's listed as a rider.
Yeah.
Can we do it? Is the county's insurance company gonna say, okay, well, you've got it listed, you're covered.
Yeah.
Our hands are clean.
So we got
We should have
I'm
a
sure.
response back next week. So we've reached out.
It's coming up quick.
We reached out. I believe she reached out last week after the commission meeting.
Cause I know Jamie
And we're waiting.
carries event insurance.
Yep.
And then she specifically
Yeah.
put a rider on for that bounce house, just for.
So let me ask you, with the rider that you guys have, does it have to be, do they specify who sets it up and
No.
any certifications or whatnot?
No, because we're not charging. The minute you
Okay.
start charging for it,
Yeah.
the insurance changes.
Okay. Because my brother owned a bounce house rental company and he had a completely
totally
different.
different because he's
Yeah.
making a living off it. If you buy one and you're setting it up and just letting people go for free,
Yeah.
I don't know what the insurance costs. Jamie can tell you. If Rosalie reached out to Jamie, she would tell you. Yeah, it's,
Would you not have to have a hold harmless agreement or a waiver
they're
in
not,
place?
if you have.
Good lawyer gonna go after
Yep.
everybody, they ain't going after the county just as much as they going after the one that owns the Bucktown's house. You'll be sued.
I don't know,
Insurance
tackle
or
the
no
back door and
insurance.
throw out people that are buying the ball.
Well, we've already had that issue with other incidents in the county where we get
Absolutely.
drug into stuff. But yeah, if y'all will read over that, she just gave it out, before y'all got here. I want to give you guys enough time to read it, kind of go over it. That's the state regulations on it. We'll find out about the insurance situation. If you'll reach out to the mayor's office.
Jamie,
Yeah.
she sent emails, cause we've always, before we even bought it, she sent an email to the mayor's office.
Yeah.
I said, yep, put it up at the courthouse, no big deal, carry insurance, and obviously we've got. Or insurance broke, but.
Yeah. We reached back out to the mayor's office because this got brought up last month, that we found this out in the policy. And, now that, like I said, now that we know, we can't say we didn't. So we're having to enforce it, and we're having to work around it.
I believe that came through Public Works Director Cliff Saley is the one that was notified.
Yeah, he had a letter from the.
He had a letter from
saying-
cease and desist letter on that stuff.
So. Yeah, it's not a county issue.
It's less work for me if I end up.
I understand, but I mean, there's a lot of people who attend these things that the kids love that, and it's a reason to go. But it's not something that the county's saying, we're just don't want to let you do it. We have to have insurance, and if they tell us they won't cover it, well, they don't cover it. So, is there anything that you wanted to bring up, Rosalie?
Give them the time?
Yeah.
When is our next meeting? And I'll bring it then.
We will have another meeting in May. I usually don't do one, in July for summer vacations. Let's see.
You gonna have, in May, you gonna have, start doing,
Yeah, we'll have budget talks.
budget.
So I gotta work
You gotta do it
around
early in
that,
the
yeah.
month, but early.
So we can do this tentatively, we'll say May 7th. Let me get with Ms. Thomas to see the budgets, scheduling. 'Cause I think her and, Chris Gregory have already started talking about their schedule of how they're gonna do the budget meetings this year. If that doesn't conflict with that, then I'll post that as May 7th. The other thing that I wanted to bring up before I'm done talking, this is why, I'd reached out to Cliff Sallee, from the building side of things about getting that old, grand jury room kind of cleaned up and usable, so that when we have a meeting that does bring the public out, we could have room there for this size, but if there's more, we can just move right out into the full courtroom, and we've got chairs and seating, and I want to encourage people to come to these meetings. I know Cliff is waiting right now to do any more work till budget time to see what kind of money we have there to finish it up, because the expensive stuff, the electronics, is what's left to do now. But so to all my commissioners, please be thinking about that for all the subcommittees. Because it's convenient for us to meet here and work and have discussions, right here with each other, not having to worry about microphones and whatnot, and everyone can hear. But on some of these subjects where the community wants to get involved and they want to have a say, to be able to then move, because most of the time, I'm telling you guys, most of the time, this table is all that comes. And that's, unfortunately, that's the way the community has always been. It's not until something touches you personally that anyone really gets involved and starts paying attention. Except for election time, when everyone wants to spout everything they want to get you to vote for them. I would encourage you to be involved year round. So when stuff comes up, you know it's coming up. I would have loved to have had the input that we had tonight a year ago when we started this conversation. It would have helped us move things a lot faster. But thank you all for attending. I really, please understand this, how much that does mean to us as commissioners. When we go to commission and there's 3 people sitting out there and we're covering the whole business for that month and project, and then we get people on Facebook spouting all kinds of stuff that if you'd have just watched the video, you'd have know what they were saying isn't true.
Oh, everything's on Facebook.
I mean, it makes our jobs easier if the community's informed, so they know what's going on, so they can direct us. Otherwise, we're just making it up as we go and trying to do what we feels best from our perspective and the people that we talk to. So that being said, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
You got it.
We are adjourned.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.